Hi. Okay. How are you? Today we are covering C-sections. What are the common myths around C-sections? Hi, everyone. My name is Terry Wong. I am the director here at Wusa Baby, and I love teaching about health and working with families from all over the world. So, I also have a program called Birth Wisdom Mastery, where it is basically an A to Z um, encyclopedia of all things related to birth. Today, we are going to cover the three biggest false beliefs about C sections. The first belief here is that people who have C sections are lazy. That is so rude and not a good conclusion to jump to because it's still a major surgery. So um, there are longer healing periods and uh, a scar. So I don't know what you would consider lazy, but number two, once a C section, always a C section. This is such a big lie because I personally did an extensive amount of research on VBACs, right? Vaginal births after C-sections, and it's a thing. People should want them. And if they work at them, there's like really great tips on actually being successful. I can give you a bonus tip later about this, but actually, fine. It's called the 20-80 rule, is how I would explain it to people so they can remember this story about VBACs. From the 20, so the US has about a third of the population that has C sections, and only 20% of people who have had a C section even try to have a natural birth. About 20%. That's a very low percentage, right? But from that 20%, there are 80% likely to be successful. So those odds are wonderful. I love telling that rule out. And because what that basically means is if you want to try to have a vaginal birth after a C section, you should just try because your odds can be very much in your favor. We'll talk about loaded dice uh, in the coming weeks because we want to have things go our way. So, continuing on to false belief number three, that C sections are only for high risk people. C sections happen for many different reasons and are not limited to high risk pregnancies. For example, if the baby is breech, and most hospitals will automatically have a policy to do C-section, and that's not considered high risk. Um, and there's a few more examples, but what's most important is I just wanted to talk about today is to understand why is it a third of the population, right? I told you earlier, is that normal? Is it high? It's very high, right? But over the years and how the medical system was created, it became normal to have a C section. So, across the board, globally, to tell you the truth, it's normal to be so high because the interventions are being overdone. Yeah. And they can easily be cut in half uh, if just people didn't jump to that so quickly. And why do they jump so quickly to do a C-section? Uh, I will also explain that the US healthcare system is set up as a business, and businesses are set up to make money. So, because a scheduled appointment C section that will last 3 hours is on the schedule and it's going to make this much money, right? It's also going to be really convenient to schedule them back to back to back. Um, Meanwhile, if you are starting to hear failure to progress, meaning over, I don't know how much time, the measurement of their dilation has not changed, and that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have to change in a predictable time period. So, and like I mentioned, because these surgeries are back to back to back, and it's for the convenience of the hospital, they don't have um, 10, 20 people in there laboring at the same time for over 20 something hours. That's why there's a lot of key tips that we're going to teach you in Birth Wisdom Mastery, because you need to know how you can avoid a C-section if that's what you wish for. Always just stretch out the time as much as possible. That's all we have to do. In Birth Wisdom Master, we'll also talk a lot about how the impact of a C-section will make you feel, right? Do you feel like you're going to miss the delivery experience if you choose to have a C-section? And no, all we want to make sure is that you and baby are safe. So don't jump to any conclusions there. We also talk about how we see our bodies after a C-section. It is a pretty big scar, and you will remember that experience, I think, for the rest of your life when you're, strapped down. But always know that this is not true either. That if you have a C-section, that it'll make it harder for you to bond and breastfeed with your baby. No, that doesn't happen that way. Your baby is going to love spending as much time with you as much as possible, and you guys are going to be inseparable. So just to talk about a bit of the risks, right? And there are risks to C-sections, and as they continue on with the procedure, they should be taking regular protocols as a surgery. So people can decide for themselves what they want to do, and whatever your desires are, whether you are you have to get a C-section, I want you to feel empowered to, and whether or not you have no choice, you can still prepare for meeting your baby. Birth Wisdom Mastery, we want to let you know that there's so many ways to look at this, and I always want you to think of the positive ways that we can continue to approach the whatever life brings us. And so just a key takeaway for today's lesson is that even if you're not planning to have a C-section, you should still plan if you have to have a C-section. So you'll understand that there's different processes there, and to also know your options. And I wouldn't want it to be like a surprise. Oh, I never thought I would get a C-section. No, if you do, let's see what our options are. And so there's 2 bonuses today. That's one more than usual for you to download and read as necessary. We have plenty of free resources, and we love to share this with the community. So know that we have a 15-minute call where we're going to explain everything that we can share with you and get to know you a bit more and see what other lessons we have that will support you. So thank you for watching this video. I hope this series is helpful to people to set it up in this way as busting myths, because these are the things that people know and hear and talk about. So I would just want to come in here and verify some information and talk about what is actually important when we talk about these big topics, the first things that we need to pay attention to, and what we need to start planning. So look forward to speaking to you all soon. Thank you.